The Forgotten Cellar. The old house on Briar Lane had a reputation, one steeped in ghost stories and whispered warnings, a place where creaky floorboards sang a mournful song, and the wind seemed to carry whispers of long-dead secrets. Calm, eerie, and steadily building suspense. Part 1, Arrival at Briar Lane. Jacob never believed in such nonsense, of course. He was a realist, a skeptic who scoffed at tales of hauntings. When the opportunity arose to buy the decrepit estate at a rock-bottom price, he didn't hesitate. "Just needs a bit of work," he muttered to himself, staring up at its ivy-covered facade. On the day he arrived, the weather was unseasonably cold for autumn. A shiver that had nothing to do with the chill ran down his spine as he unlocked the front door. The interior smelled of mold and old wood, and a heavy silence clung to the air. The local real estate agent had been oddly hesitant to show the cellar. "The basement's been sealed off for decades," she had said with a strained smile. "But you probably wouldn't want to go down there anyway." Naturally, Jacob wanted nothing more than to go down there. Part 2, The Sound Beneath. The first night, the house seemed to creak and groan, settling into its new owner's presence. Jacob ignored it, chalking it up to the building's age. But as the clock struck midnight, a distinct sound echoed from below. Thud, thud, thud. Jacob froze. It sounded like something knocking. From the cellar. His pulse quickened, but he shook it off. He must be imagining things. Still, the noise grew louder, more insistent. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling as if willing the sound to stop. The next day, curiosity got the better of him. Armed with a flashlight and a crowbar, he approached the cellar door. The lock was rusted and stubborn, but with a sharp crack it gave way, revealing a stairway descending into the darkness. The air down there was thick, damp, and tinged with a metallic scent. Jacob's flashlight beam flickered as he stepped down. Dust motes danced in the light, and the old stone walls seemed to close in around him. And then he saw it, a small, dusty chair placed perfectly in the center of the room. The chair faced the far wall, a wall covered in strange, childish drawings, stick figures, houses, and something else. In the middle of the crude drawing stood a massive, looming shadow, towering over the tiny figures. Its eyes were two hollow, black circles, staring straight at him. Part 3, The Forgotten One. The knocking sound returned, louder and more distinct now. It wasn't coming from the walls or the floor, but the chair. He stepped closer, squinting. There was something tied to the backrest, a leather-bound book, its cover cracked with age. The title was smudged, unreadable. He opened it slowly, heart pounding in his ears. Page after page was filled with scrawled writing, a child's unsteady hand recounting something over and over. "I am sorry, I am sorry, I am sorry." His breath caught in his throat. The next few pages were drawings again. They told a story, a family in the house, a child in the cellar, a door that shouldn't exist. Jacob glanced up, dread curling in his gut. In the corner of the room, the outline of a small wooden door was barely visible, half buried behind stacks of rotted boxes. It was a door that shouldn't be there. The knocking grew frenzied now, and he stumbled backward, the flashlight's beam jittering wildly. Something was behind that door. He shouldn't open it. He knew he shouldn't, but he was drawn forward, compelled to turn the tarnished handle. The door creaked open to reveal nothing, just an empty, pitch-black space. Relief washed over him until he heard it, a soft, high-pitched giggle. He whipped around. The chair was empty now. But the drawings on the wall, they had changed. The tiny stick figures were looking up now, staring directly at the new large figure in the center of the page. It was him, the towering shadow. And beneath it, in tiny letters, was a single phrase, repeated over and over, "I am here." Part 4, Whispers in the Dark. Jacob turned and ran, but the cellar door slammed shut behind him. The knocking became a pounding, the giggle now a chorus of cruel laughter. He screamed, slamming his fists against the locked door. Then the laughter stopped. Silence enveloped him. He turned slowly. The chair was back in its place, facing him, and in the chair sat the shadow. Its hollow eyes bored into his. "Welcome," it whispered, its voice like dry leaves on a grave. "I've been waiting for so long." The last thing Jacob heard was the sound of the door opening, not the cellar door. No, the little wooden door in the corner, swinging wide to reveal countless eyes staring out from the void. Then the darkness swallowed him whole. Part 5, The house remained silent. The next morning, the real estate agent arrived. She peered through the window and frowned. The house looked empty, yet She was certain she had sold it just days ago. Ah, well, she murmured, turning away. As she did, a soft knocking echoed from deep within the cellar. She froze, but shook her head. Just the old place settling, she whispered to herself, walking briskly to her car. But if she had stayed a moment longer, she might have noticed the small figure in the upstairs window, watching her leave. Finish with a lingering pause, the implication clear. The house is always waiting for its next guest.